So I wasted months building n8n workflows the hard way. Then I discovered these 8 hacks that cut my build time in half. So today I'm sharing the exact shortcuts and hidden features that transformed me from a struggling beginner into someone who builds production workflows in hours and not days. So whether you are brand new to n8n or you've built dozens of workflows, I guarantee that at least 3 of these will blow your mind. And if you stick around to hack number 7, I'll show you the one feature that literally saved me hundreds of dollars in API costs. So let's dive in. So I will tell you these 8 shortcuts and I will show you where you can find them in n8n. So hack number 1 may seem basic, but I promise this alone will save you hours every week. Stop clicking everywhere. n8n has keyword shortcuts that make you feel like a productive ninja. So press tab to instantly open the node menu. No more clicking the plus button. Hit F2 to rename any node on the spot. No more opening settings. And press P to pin data after execution. We'll come back to you why this is huge in a minute. And here's my favorite. Press the equal sign to toggle any field between fixed and regression mode. It's a game changer. So watch this. Same task, first with clicking, takes 15 seconds. Now with keyboard shortcuts, 4 seconds, and that's almost 4 times faster. But here's the real magic. Use arrow keys to jump between nodes and enter to open them. Your hands never leave the keyboard. You feel like you're coding in the Matrix. So this is a pro tip. Press Shift S, then click to drop a sticky note anywhere. Perfect for documenting complex workflows. So hack number 2 completely changed how I test. So here's the solution. Data pinning. Execute the node once, then press P to pin the output. Now you can test everything downstream without calling the API again. So here I have the AI agent node, and if I click P, it will pin the output over here. You can also click right mouse button and unpin or pin over here. So you can also manually create pin data. Right click any node and click edit pin data and paste in test.json. Perfect for simulating edge cases. And here's the secret weapon. When a workflow fails, go to executions, click the failed run and hit debug or copy to editor. It reopens with all the data from that run. No need to re-execute anything. So I tracked this for a month and the single hack saved me $47 in API costs. So that's $564 per year. So hack 3 is for when you're working with large amounts of data. So picture that you've got 10,000 customer records from Airtable. You need to process each one through an external API. But the API has a limit rate of 100 requests per minute. So if you just run it normally, boom, your rate limit is error. If you run this normally, you will get a rate limit error. The workflow crashes, hours of work down the drain. Enter the loop over items nodes, also called split in batches. So this node takes your 10,000 items and says, hold up, let me send these bit-sized chunks. Set your batch size to 100, add a wait node for 60 seconds. Now n8n automatically sends 100 items, waits a minute, sends the next 100, and repeats until done. So no more rate limit errors, no more failed workflows at 3 a.m., just smooth, reliable automation. This is a pro tip if you are working with APIs that only process one item at a time, like the RSS feed node. Set batch size to 1 and problem solved. Hack 4 is about conditional logic. And most people are doing it the hard way. Picture this, you are building a workflow that routes customer orders based on their value. Under $500 is an email notification, 5 to 500 is a Slack alert, 500 to 1000 is CRM update and an email, and over 1000 is an urgent notification, CRM and Slack. So most beginners use multiple if nodes chained together. If node 1 connects to if node 2, connects to if node 3, it's a spaghetti nightmare. So 4 nodes, 8 connections, impossible to follow. So here's the secret, it's the switch node. So the switch node, 1 node, 4 clear outputs, same logic. Look how clean it is. So you basically can add different routes over here with different values and you will see that it outputted in those 4 outputs. So for example, order total is under 500, order total is 50 to 500, order total is 500 to 1000 and order total is over 1000. Same workflow, left side 4 if nodes, confusing logic, hard to modify, right side switch node, crystal clear, easy to need to add a 5th condition. With if nodes, you need to add another node and rewire everything. With switch nodes, just add 1 more output rule and done in 10 seconds. So rule of thumb, use if nodes when you have 1 to 2 simple true-false branches. Use switch node when you have 3+ outcomes or complex routing logic. Switch nodes are easier for n8n to optimize, meaning slightly faster executions on complex workflow. Hack 5 has saved me about more times than I can count. You are deep into editing a workflow, you make a bunch of changes, hit execute, everything breaks. And you're thinking, what did I change? How do I undo this? So don't panic, n8n has a built-in time machine. Click the clock icon in the top right, click any version to preview, found the one that worked, Click restore and you are back in business. This is especially crucial when you're experimenting with complex changes or when something mysteriously stops working. Best practice here, before making major changes, hit save to create a checkpoint. It's like a save point in a video. Hack 6 is controversial, but it'll make your workflow cleaner. When I started with n8n, I used code nodes for everything. Need to rename a field? Code node. Need to add a timestamp? Code node. My workflows look like this. Node, code, node, code, node, code. Messy, hard to maintain, slow to build. Then I discovered that the set node can do 80% of what you use in code node for. So you can find it under set, and you can basically rename fields, add new fields, remove fields, transform values with expressions, combine multiple fields, extract parts of strings, and it's all visual, no coding required. Don't get me wrong, code nodes are powerful for complex logic, loops or custom functions, but for simple transformation, the set node wins every time. So hack 7 is the one that makes your automation actually reliable. Here's a nightmare scenario. You build a workflow that processes customer orders overnight. One API endpoint goes down at 2 a.m. 50 orders fail to process, and you found out at 9 a.m. when customers start complaining. Not great. The solution is an error workflow. So go to workflow settings, over here in the right button, go to settings, create or select a workflow that should run when this workflow fails. So your error workflow might send you Slack message with the error details, log the error in the database, email your team, or create a ticket in your project management tool. How you can build such a workflow is that you go to error trigger over here, and then you attach everything you want to have to be notified. You add the error trigger, and then you can add everything you would like to push that error to. So, for example, it can be Slack, it can be Google Sheets, it can basically be everything. And remember to then go to settings in the workflow you want to monitor, and then add your workflow error over here. Pro setup, create one master error workflow and connect it to all your production workflows. Now you have a centralized error monitoring. And the bonus, on any node you can enable continue on fill. The workflow won't crash, it will just skip filled items and keep going. Perfect for batch operations where you don't want one bad apple to ruin the whole bunch. Hack 8 is about future you thanking present you. This is a workflow I built 6 months ago. Sticky notes explain what each section does. So node names are descriptive, fetch customer data, not HTTP request tree, and color coding, green for success paths, red for errors, blue for data transformation, sections grouped with visual spacing. So adding sticky notes is easy. Press Shift S, click to place, and type your node. This is a node. This takes an extra 30 seconds while building, but it saves you 30 minutes when you come back to it later. Plus, if you're working in a team, this is a non-negotiable. Your teammates will love you. Best practices here are name nodes with action plus an object, add sticky notes at the start of each major section, use consistent naming patterns across workflows, and document any tricky logic or non-obvious decisions. So let's recap these 8 game-changing hacks. Master keyboard shortcuts, work 5 times faster, pin data, save hundreds of API costs, split in batches, tame your rate limits, switch node over if node, cleaner conditional logic, version control, never lose work, set node over code node, build visually, error workflows, catch failures instantly, and organize with sticky notes. Since implementing these, I've cut my build time in half, saved over $500 in API costs, had 0 unexpected workflow failures, and made my workflows 10x easier to maintain. So which hack are you going to implement first? Drop a comment below, and if you want more n8n tutorials, workflow templates and automation strategies, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.